My name is Brian.
And my name is Olivia.
The goal of our experiment today is to show you how Charles' law works and to show you how temperature and volume are related when the pressure is constant. I will be the teacher.
And I will be the student.
Here are some safety guidelines. First, make sure that all hair is tied back. You also want to make sure that you have no loose articles of clothing. Also, make sure that you wear protective eyewear when using a Bunsen burner. If anything happens to get in your eye, there's an eye wash station that you should use. If you get anything in your eye, you should be sure to utilize the emergency eye wash station. To use this, flip open the orange caps and push down the lever. Also, if you happen to catch fire, be sure to use the fire blanket over there, and there's the fire extinguisher. Also, make sure to use the emergency shower, which you can do so by pulling the lever. During the experiment, we'll be placing objects in heated water. By first denting the objects, we'll show how they expand under a certain temperature. Also, we'll be using a balloon to show how it will inflate using Charles' law. The materials we need to use in the experiment. First will be distilled water.
Why do we need distilled water? Why can't we use normal tap water?
Distilled water is deionized water, and we will be using this to boil. Secondly, we'll need a ring stand.
Why do you need a ring stand?
Well, first you'll need to put the wire mesh on top, and in doing so, you'll be able to put the Bunsen burner below to properly heat the beaker that will be going on top. Also, the Erlenmeyer flask will also go on top when heating up the materials.
Why can't you use the same beaker? Why do you have to use an urban, I don't even know how to say it.
Erlenmeyer flask. For this, we'll be using the balloon to inflate when boiling the water. Further, we'll be using tongs.
Can't you just pick it up off of the thing?
No, because we need to properly handle the beaker and the flask when using it. We don't want to burn ourselves. We also need a box of matches.
Wow. Hopefully you can handle that carefully.
Yes, and when we turn on the Bunsen burner, we'll be using these matches to turn on the fire. Lastly, we have our three objects that we will be using. The balloon to inflate, the ping pong ball, and the bottle of water.
Is there anything we're forgetting?
I think that's all it.
Okay.
Doing this experiment, make sure you have adult supervision. Let's begin the experiment.
How do I tighten these? I don't know how to.
Pull on the two strands over here. Alright, so now, first we gotta make sure the beaker is clean. You can rinse it out using regular water.
Jamie, that means you.
Sorry.
Also, to make sure the Bunsen burner is working properly, make sure that there are no extra holes in it. Now, to start the experiment, first, get the beaker and fill it to about 400 milliliters. You want to do it?
Yes, I would love to. Is there any specific way I should do it?
Well, first make sure to look at the lines. You also want to use the meniscus of the fluid to perfectly measure 450 milliliters.
What's a meniscus?
Start filling it up and I'll show you.
Okay. Is there any faster way to do this?
There actually is. You can merely just pour it in.
Is there how would I get it specific though to the 400 milliliters?
Pour up to the 400 mark, and then you can slowly add more using this.
Okay, I can do that.
As you fill it up, you can see that there's a little ring that's apparent. At the bottom of the ring is called the meniscus, and that's what you use to properly measure it.
Oh, okay. I'm at 400.
Alright. For from now on, you can use here, let me help you with that. Alright, that looks that looks good to me.
Yeah, it looks really good. Just right on the line. I can see it's at the bottom of the meniscus.
To connect the Bunsen burner. You should probably have an adult do this part. To do so, firmly place the tube around the gas chamber. Then place the Bunsen burner under the ring stand. For this, adjust the ring to approximately 5 inches above the Bunsen burner. Next, place the wire mesh on top of the ring. Also, place a beaker on top of that. In order to use the Bunsen burner properly, first make sure to adjust the bottom. This allows oxygen to flow.
Why do you need oxygen?
Because in order to make a fire going, you need oxygen to help fuel the fire. Next, here's the gas lever. Don't use this yet, because first we'll need matches. Slowly turn on the gas. Strike the match. And there you go. You can adjust the flame height by putting more or less gas.
What does the oxygen do now?
The oxygen helps to fuel the fire.
And how high do you want the flame?
You want it to just hit the bottom of the beaker, like so.
Okay.
So you happen to burn yourself, make sure to go to the emergency shower and make sure that you wash it off. Also, if you happen to get one of your articles of clothing on fire, be sure to utilize the fire blanket. If things get out of hand, there's also the fire extinguisher. Now, Olivia, do you want to tell me about what you know about Charles' Law?
Is that what we learned about in class?
Yes, it is.
So, is it true that when the pressure is constant, the volume and the temperature will change?
That's exactly what we're doing here.
Okay, so when the temperature increases, which you're showing by the Bunsen burner and the heat, this will cause the water to boil?
Yes, and when it does so, we'll be using the tennis ball, ping pong ball, and the bottle of water to show how this works.
Then what does the balloon, what's the balloon for?
The balloon will also show how Charles' Law works using the Erlenmeyer flask.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Now, it's time to start putting in the ping pong balls.
Thank you. So what should I do with this now?
You should make sure to dent it on both sides, preferably.
Okay. Is this a good place to do it?
Actually, I would not do that. I would just use my hands for this.
Okay. Is this good? Should I make the dent bigger?
Perfect. Now what we're going to do is heat this up a little bit more so that it starts boiling. As it does this, I will put in the ping pong ball and then we'll show how this expands using Charles' Law. Now that the water is at a high enough temperature, you can now place the dented ping pong ball into the beaker. To go with proper safety measures, you should probably use the tongs to do so.
Is there any specific way it should stay in the beaker?
You should probably continuously touch this in order to make it not touch the glass and melt. Okay, you can cut. Alright. As you can see, it only takes a few seconds for it to fully inflate again. We're going to show how Charles' Law applies to even a whole bottle, empty bottle of water. Mind denting it?
No, not at all.
Here we go. Follow the same procedure and use the tongs to put it in the beaker. To speed up this process, you can even use a little more fire. As you can hear, the plastic is expanding. There you go. Now that we're done with the beaker, you want to make sure to turn the Bunsen burner off. And then, before you take the beaker off, put the back of your hand to it to see how hot it actually is. Once the beaker has cooled down enough, use appropriate beaker tongs to take it off. When doing so, make sure to firmly grasp the beaker. Also, use the tongs to get the mesh wire and set it down in order to properly place the beaker. The Erlenmeyer flask, put on the wire mesh onto the ring. Before you put the Erlenmeyer flask on, you should probably fill it up to about 50 milliliters. Do so by looking at the meniscus again.
I know what a meniscus is now.
Now that the Erlenmeyer flask is filled, put on the balloon over the top. Now, use the matches and relight the Bunsen burner. Alright, make sure to hold the balloon up so that it doesn't catch fire.
Wait, what are we waiting for?
We're waiting for the balloon to inflate because as the temperature increases, like the ping pong ball and the bottle of water, this will increase its volume.
Oh, that makes sense. I can see it starting to inflate over here.
You can cut. When the temperature increases too much, the volume also increases too much, and the balloon will, unfortunately, pop. Now that we're done, take the Erlenmeyer flask off and the wire mesh, and do the same as you did with the beaker. Completely done with the experiment, make sure to put everything back where you found it. If you're unsure about some things, ask your teacher on where to put it.
What should we do with these matches?
Make sure that they're not hot, and then throw them in the trash can to properly dispose of them. By using a ping pong ball, water bottle, and balloon, you have learned how Charles' Law relates to inflating.
I definitely have.
Now that we have finished the experiment, it is now time to apply what you have learned. For the worksheet, for example, the first one says, Charles' Law. As the temperature of the container increases, the volume will also blank. From Charles' Law and the experiment, we have learned that as temperature increases during constant pressure, the volume will also increase. So the correct answer should be increases.